Real Madrid sustained all that pressure in the first 45 minutes, and there was such a sense of calm about them. They never looked like they were panicking. They never looked rattled. And I attribute that to the way Carlo Ancelotti manages this team. In fact, I think he even said in the postgame, he said, I just, told them to calm down, just play calm. And they did. And then they were able to find the goals in the second half. I mean, what is it about him, Nige, that is so important, especially in finals?
As we would say, he's a proper manager. He's a proper manager.
Explain a proper manager.
A proper manager is someone that goes into the dressing room, can get his message across, the players can take it on board and understand exactly what the manager wants. He doesn't manage through this whole generation of social media and this and that, because the biggest thing in management right now, so coming from someone who just recently doing these coaching badges, it's like that. It seems like this that we're seeing right now, where when these players are doing this with their manager, that means they have the utmost respect for him and they will run through brick walls. You have to be able to adapt, and that's what Carlos Ancelotti gets his players to do. These are world-class players. World-class players.
My question to you, because, it seems that Carlo Ancelotti is on top of the world, right, as a manager, especially given his recent run with Real Madrid in the Champions League. Where does he rank for you all time?
All time, he's the greatest.
He's the greatest?
He's the greatest. Look what he's done. He's won it in different countries. He's won...
without a doubt.
Without a doubt, he is the greatest. This is his 5th Champions League trophy. And he's won domestic titles in Germany, France, Spain, and Italy. Like, no other manager's done it in so many top leagues in Europe. But for me, it's the man-to-man management. And what I love is, if you listen to his quotes that he says from different perspectives, is the way he's able to adapt, the way he's smart to say, right, I'm Real Madrid. And I think one of the most recent quotes I read was when he played against De Zerbi at Shakhtar Donetsk. So he said, they're going to play the ball around you. Don't press. How do you tell players at that high level not to press, where you've got world-class players? He's like, they're going to play around you. Don't press. They're going to give you the ball, and then they end up winning the game 5-0. That just shows the level of management of knowing your dressing room, knowing the talent you have, knowing the strengths, watching them day to day and finding the best way to motivate them, while some managers are just very stuck in their routine of, this is how we play, this is it, that's it. It's that personal element that people have got away from because they're so drawn in now by stats and data and this and that. And the reality of it, you've been in dressing rooms. You know the most personal manager is always going to be the best manager that you remember in your career, the one that actually put his arm around you, spoke to you.
But
Charlie, how's the family?
It's not until things go wrong that you really see what the manager is made of. Because it's so easy to win the Champions League, win La Liga, and you're the best manager of all time. When the team has a bad run of form, how does the manager act? When you as a player have a bad run of form, how does he motivate you? How does he keep you in the team? How does he...
But that's all the whole part of the journey of managers, and that's what I'm saying. But he's had that history and experience already in all the different clubs he's been at, AC Milan. He's had that experience. I think one of the most famous stories is the Ronaldo, when he said to Carlo, when Ancelotti said to him, you're overweight. And Ronaldo said to him, do you want me to run around or score goals? What do you want? And he played Ronaldo the following week, and Ronaldo scored 2 goals, and he kept on playing him. That just shows you the level of management of what he's like, where, and for example, if that was Pep Guardiola would not even played Ronaldo. And I'll use that as a reference because you look at Calvin Phillips recently, when Pep Guardiola publicly shamed him, and he's pretty much never been the same. But it just shows you that there's different elements of becoming such a great manager that you have to deal with. You know the egos that you've played with.
Is he the best for you of all time?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's because of he's done it through different generations.
Yep.
When you look at his ability to adapt and keep changing, and people talk that like, oh, he's not a tactic guy. He is. He is, but he's very subtle about it.
Yeah.
He went in the locker room and he told all his players, that was a bad half. Calmly, like that. I've been in locker rooms and managers come in when we've had a bad half, especially in the game, the magnitude of that, and it's right in your face. You have to improve. This is not good enough. He says, we had a bad half. Jude, get closer to Tony. All right? Let's get closer to Tony. We'll try and open up this game that way. And they go out in the second half and just wear Dortmund down.
But
And
it's
had the ability to just tweak the smallest things.
That's what it is. It's the small
and
things.
it changes the game.
This
It's impressive.
Yeah,
He knows the little things that need to happen. Instead of making a big ordeal out of it, you come out of the locker room questioning yourself, now we have to change everything? No, one thing.
But we discussed it as well when we were covering the game. Brian and I was having loads of conversation. I said, we've seen Real Madrid do this. And I said that when you get players, and you know what it's like as well, Brian, when you get players that are comfortable without possession to say, okay, you can have the ball. I know I'm better than you. It's a mentality set. And that's what he's got with these top players at Real Madrid, that they know that even without possession, they're looking at you to say, all right, you can have the ball, but I know you're not going to hurt me. And they're all comfortable in one-on-one situations. And just to add to your point, 21 years since his last Champions League to this one now. That just shows you the evolution to adapt to this generation.
What's 21 years?
Since he won his last Champions League.
First one.
The first one to this one, 21 years difference. But it just shows you the ability to continue to adapt to the different generations. You're looking at these young players, Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, all these young players, and he still gets the best out of them at his age, and they perform for him. It's truly unique. It's absolutely unbelievable. And the fact is, when Jose Mourinho plays you a compliment as well, I think Jose Mourinho was saying that Carlo Ancelotti is a real coach compared to a social media coach. It's because those managers know, and we've seen it, in how the generation of managers are changing now with all their presentations, all the stats and this and my philosophy. No, your philosophy has to be able to adapt. Your philosophy has to be capable to see what's going on. Yes, you can have your principal foundation, but your philosophy has to be able to adapt to what the game needs at that time and that moment.
Charlie,
and that's what he does the best.
So who is he the best for you?
After this win, yes.
Yeah.
Who was before?
I mean, I'd probably argue Pep Guardiola would be the best manager of all time.
Do you know what's fascinating about that? I like that point, Charlie, but when you look at this Champions League, Real Madrid should have been knocked out by Leipzig, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, but they still go all the way. Manchester City absolutely battered them. And that's what I love about this Champions League is Real Madrid were not the best team. But there's something about the club, the history, the tradition, and even Ancelotti said it himself, I don't know what it is. And when is the greatest manager in the world saying, I can't tell you what it is? It just lets you know that there's something special. No, he said it.
I don't know what it is. No, I got the juice.
But when he's that humble and he says it, that I don't know what it is, it's something about the club, the foundation, maybe it's the players, maybe it's the culture that's been created, but there's something special about this competition and the club that him as a manager can't even put words into it, lets you know. But I feel personally, it's the human element, and that's what football's got away from for far too long now, that they don't understand the football element of being in that dressing room. You cannot measure players' hearts.
You know that this is something that the club has when not only do the players and the coach know that, you know, all that other stuff that's going on the field, if it doesn't matter. I mean, even the fans are like, this is fine. This is how we win. It's that ingrained in you, in this club, that belief. It's something special, for sure.
Because that first 45, for the majority of teams in the world, the fans are upset, they're whistling, they're booing, they're yelling.
Zero panic. Zero panic.
This is us.
But the thing is, it's only happened in the past 2 years where when they won it the year before, it's like, no one expected them to win it because they didn't have a great team. But it's just like they're used to it now. They know they haven't been playing well. They're not playing the Galactico way, but they always find a way to win. That is the beauty about football, and especially watching this Champions League.
I'm going to toss this at Suze. Terzic.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you think of his managing style, his season?
Do you know what? I thought he did a pretty remarkable job. I mean, number one, you're going up against the perennial favorites in Real Madrid, which is a massive task anyway. But to emerge, to win the group of death, to go on this Champions League run, they've won the Pokal once. I think he has one trophy in his cabinet, but he is playing in a Champions League final against Real Madrid. And they took it to them in the first 45 minutes. I thought the way that they approached this game was absolutely brilliant. We said, leading up to this final, that they were going to have to play perfectly in order to get past Real Madrid in a Champions League final. And I thought the first 45 minutes they played perfectly. And then in the second 45, you know, Real Madrid make some adjustments, and it looked like they just ran out of gas. I mean, Dortmund looked tired. So if I'm Aiden Terzic, I feel incredibly proud of my team. I feel incredibly proud of the way I approached this. Nobody expected them to be in the position that they were in, and so I would keep my head held high. You saw that exchange between him and Ancelotti at the end of the match, and you could, obviously a sense of disappointment for him, but I think also there was a tremendous amount of pride in the way he went and addressed the Dortmund fans and the yellow wall. There's no shame in the way they lost.
Do you know what's beautiful about it as well? It's his journey to become a manager. I think that's the story. There's so many stories in this Champions League, which we'll probably get onto later on, but his journey as a manager, being a fan, getting into the club, working throughout the ranks in the system and managing them in a Champions League final. For people watching, especially young fans watching right now, dreams can come true. That's what they need to take. Whether you want to be a player or go through a different journey, dreams can come true. I think that we need to put those stories out there. It's true, though. From being a fan to going in there and then working through the ranks of the club to managing them in a Champions League final, and especially a great performance. They were the better side. Make no mistakes. They were the better side. But it's unbelievable.
Nice.
It's a way to inspire the young kids. It's true.
I didn't know we had a preacher at the desk. And
That's beautiful.
Dreams do come true.
Preacher.